The pipeline probably killed itself by shooting itself in the back of the head.
Now, Europe's border agency Frontex says nearly 66,000 Russians have flooded into the EU over the last week.
Yeah. It's a typical thing that pipelines do. They just shoot themselves in the back of the head 3 times. And you know, commit Sudoku.
Because men leave to avoid being called up to fight in Ukraine. Latvia has declared a state of emergency as its frontier comes under pressure. And Kazakhstan and Georgia are reporting tens of thousands of arrivals. DW correspondent Maria Katsamadze reports now from a checkpoint on the border between Georgia and Russia.
Thanks to the Georgians for opening the border. It made it much easier for us.
Alone with friends, children, or family.
One thing I've seen so far about like these people that are fleeing the country because they don't want to be conscripted into a fucking bullshit war is like I've seen a bunch of people saying like, "Oh, don't let them into your country." And it's like, what do you want? Do you want your enemy to have like a larger military? Like, what the fuck's wrong with you? Isn't this good? Like, I've seen hella fucking psychotic, like, Ukrainian flag in the bio accounts saying shit like, do not let these Russian dogs into your country. And I'm like, bro, what? Like, every Russian that escapes forced conscription in this bullshit fucking war is one less person you have to fight against. I saw some Redditors saying they need to stay because they deserved it. Like, they quite literally do not deserve it. What is this? This was uploaded online with the caption, "We are closer than you think." Wait, what? I don't understand. Why'd you show me this? They seek him here. They seek him there. The Ruskies seek him everywhere. Is he in heaven? Is he in hell? What? I'm from Lithuania, and I can confirm we're all happy that Russians are not allowed to our country. But that doesn't make sense. Am I crazy? Why the fuck would people not want, like, Russians to unironically flee and not be a part of the fucking war efforts? You're helping when your enemy makes a mistake, you allow them, okay? You don't literally go, oh, man. This is why. No, I know the partisan flag. I know. I don't give a shit about that, dude. Fuck it. Who cares?
On foot or by bike, with or without pets. Many of these people crossing the border from Russia into Georgia are doing so to avoid being sent to war.
Look at these fifth column guys, by the way. Do you see that? They're even bringing their fat cats with them. Typical spy shit. They're all probably KGB. Most of these guys.
DW's Maria Katsamadze went to meet some of them.
Since the start of the mobilization in Russia, this checkpoint in neighboring Georgia has been working in an emergency mode. Thousands of Russians have already entered the country trying to escape the war in Ukraine. Russian men, along with their families, spend days and nights in queues stretching for kilometers, most of the time without food and water, the price that they are willing to pay just to avoid going to the battlefield.
Ilya spent 3 days on the road. Moscow to Tuapse, Vladikavkaz. First by train, then by bicycle. This is how he crossed the border into Georgia.
I cannot support what is happening in Russia now. I am against Putin's policies. I am against this war. I think it makes absolutely no sense. I was actually supposed to go to Japan for a permanent residency in 6 months, but I decided that if everything closes down, there won't be any Japan.
Nikita's originally from Moscow. He worked for an energy company which closed down because of the war. He'd like to return to Russia someday when Moscow changes its political course.
There is a huge influence.
So many people live in the comfort of their homes and never have to consider fleeing the country that you called your home because of its fucking actions against you and against others. And it's a disgusting, Iowan piece of shit who never has to second guess America's imperialist wars and lives in the comfort of the imperial core, saying the dumb shit on Twitter, being like, yeah, no, fuck these guys. You're a piece of shit. Okay? You're a gigantic piece of shit. You're not a good person. You're an actual unironic bad person if you think that these people who are fleeing Russian conscription and Russian war should not be let into the country. You are no different than Vladimir Putin, because you know who benefits from that? Vladimir Putin. That's why his fucking police force is unironically locking people up that are protesting the forced conscription and then immediately sending them to the fucking front lines. You have a 100% one-to-one exact take that Vladimir Putin has with respect to these people who are fleeing Russia. It's crazy. Are these the same people saying that if an American military draft happened, they would flee? They wouldn't flee? Yeah. So Democrats should leave red states? Moscow won't change its political course if everyone who wants it to leave changes? Mad disagree? What? Dude, you should get back to playing, even though your name is done playing. Bro, there could be an million, okay? There could be 10 million fucking Russians who are against the government. It doesn't matter. There is no say. They have no say. God, I literally hate these fucking American keyboard warriors who are like, man, I'm built differently. Yeah? Did you blow up an American forward operating base recently? What happened? Are you anti-imperialist? Are you fighting against American imperialism? Do you have some issues with that? What have you done to undermine American empire? Nothing. Shut the fuck up. These people are braver than you, okay? Braver than you ever will be.
Influx of cars, a huge influx of people, but I understand the customs officers have figured out how to deal with this situation and have started to organize traffic. And what is interesting is people are also organizing themselves.
George is on his way from Krasnodar to visit relatives in Georgia. He tells DW the border guards don't let everyone through.
He took my passport and checked to see if I was being drafted. That was it. Those who are being mobilized, they just turn them around, just like that. There have been cases like this.
The Georgian Interior Ministry has already announced it does not intend to close the border with Russia. The Russian Federal Security Service has already deployed military personnel and an armoured personnel carrier to the frontier to stop Russians fleeing their mobilization orders.
Let's join Igor Kuroptev, who's director of the Free Russia Foundation in South Caucasus. He joins us from the Georgian capital, Tbilisi. Full disclosure, Mr. Kuroptev also has a commercial relationship with Deutsche Welle. He was at the border between Russia and Georgia last night. Welcome to DW. What did you see there?
Good evening. Yeah, of course, my organization Foundation, first of all, we assist Russian political exile, but now we're closely monitoring what's going on the border because it affects security of Georgia and situation in Russia as well. When I was on the border, I saw lots of people coming. It's thousands, and people use bicycles. They use any means to cross the border. Yesterday, Georgian government border police allowed people to cross the border by foot. So many people just leave their cars far away and go by foot to cross the border and to leave Russia as soon as possible, not to go and die or kill someone in Ukraine. So the situation there is very tense. Yeah.
I was just going to ask about what they were telling you about why they were leaving.
I would say that mostly, there are various groups, but mostly people are leaving because they actually never supported this war. And now there is a time to leave the country as soon as possible. They
Working
will never,
Press, thank you for the
don't want to ever
25
become a part
or
of this
10 gifted
criminal
subs.
acts in Ukraine.
Coffee Dave, thank you for the 5.
Some people, of course, they were silent, but just they don't want to die. And some people who even supported the war, but now after this Putin's step to announce mobilization, they decided not to go because they also just don't want to go and die there without any preparation. But mostly, again, majority is the people who oppose the war all the time from the very beginning.
And so we have Georgia.
You think there's any Russian HasanAbi hits? Of course there are hella fucking streamers are hippos. A lot of Russian gamers are gays who wouldn't want to fight. Women in Iran are braver. What? You think there is any? This is the same account that we've banned time and time again, isn't it? The streamers are hypocrites account that we ban all the time, and he just like makes new sock accounts with the same fucking name. That's one of the funniest parts about people who make. That's one of the funniest parts about people who make like sock accounts. They literally always want to make the same name. They want to use their same name in their sock accounts. Die with in a case of conflict with Turkey, burger or kebab? Bro, America and Turkey go to war. You know where I'm going? New Zealand, motherfucker. Catch me in New Zealand by myself, okay? Chilling with the Kiwis. I'm not even touching anybody. I'm fucking out of here, dude.
Obviously sharing a border with Russia, with its much bigger neighbour. This must have put the Georgian authorities under quite a lot of pressure, not just from the physical number of people coming into its country, but also political pressure from Russia.
I would like to remind that 20% of Georgia is occupied by Russian Federation since 2008, so occupation and illegal Russian military base on Georgian territory the first threat. Yes, of course, this number of people fleeing to Georgia, going to Georgia is a threat, and government and special services are monitoring the situation. At the moment, there are no indications of some danger issues, but of course, such a big amount of people in the country of 3.6 million people, it's a lot. And of course, it increases Russian influence in Georgia. So Georgian society is now demanding to close the border.
Right. Thank you for joining us, Igor Koroptev from the Free Russia Foundation in South Caucasus.
Earlier, I talked to Corneli Kakachia. He's director of the Georgian Institute of Politics in the country's capital, Tbilisi. I asked him if he sees a noticeable surge in Russian arrivals.
Yes, I think this is already...
My best friend is currently in the queue for crossing RUKZ. I'm not leaving as I have elder relatives to take care of. Shit is really sad. Reading The Privilege of Marabou, shitting on these people is fun. Yeah, I mean, dude, they're American. They're disgusting. What do you mean? We're American. We're filthy little piglets. Like, living in our own slop, thinking our shit don't stink. You know what I mean? Americans will never, ever comprehend the reality of, like, despising the authoritarian government that you weren't, like, that you were never in support of, that you were born into. You know what I mean? Those conditions. And escaping them. That's actually unironically, you know, half of our lack of empathy revolving around other, you know, immigrants escaping countries that we fucked up, like Latin American countries and shit.
visible because we don't have exactly the figures because almost every day we have more influx of Russian citizens. But before that, for instance, weeks ago, there was some sort of estimation that we have already 150,000 Russian citizens in Georgia. And that's a huge number if you consider that Georgia is a small country, it just has a population 3.5 million. And also, you know, like because we have a visa-free regime with Russia, basically state authorities not really able to control who is actually entering to Georgia from the Russian-Georgia border.
Given Georgia's own difficulties, fending off...
A lot of those Americans also don't understand that, like, Russians still have access to the internet and they can read their fucking words. And they unironically are reinforcing the same narrative that Vladimir Putin wants reinforced, which is that if you're Russian, you're alone. If you're Russian, the only person that will look after you is your other fellow Russians. The entire world is against us, with maybe the exception of China and some other countries. Okay? The entirety of the Western world is against us. They hate you. Look what they're doing. They don't even need to, like, make fucking psyops. They could just show Reddit. They could just, like, literally show any random Reddit page to instill the notion that the rest of the world is, like, completely psychopathic with respect to, like, random Russian people and the way that they treat random Russian people. Here is No Fuckers talking about the mobilization in Russia. We're going to cover that in a second. It's just so insane. I don't know.
Russian military.
Actually, let's just move on. Let's watch
boy
that.
Roman, your favorite neighborhood Russian. Hi guys, doing today? Welcome to a brand new video. And in today's video, guys, we're gonna be talking about the mobilization in Russia and why everybody is trying to leave. Yet again, guys, this video is gonna be uploaded like 5 days after the actual news broke out because honestly, I've been trying